Why is it that when they found Jay's body, it was reported on the mainstream media that his clothes and belongings were found alongside him? Now, did the Spanish police find Jay without any clothes on? And was his body dumped there alongside his clothes? You see, guys, when this was initially reported, it just rung a bell in my head. It just didn't make any sense because they didn't elaborate on the reasons why his clothes were found alongside him. Now, we already know that the Spanish police called off the search after about 2 weeks. So how did they find him all of a sudden, 29 days later? And on top of that, he's found without his clothes on. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, we don't know if Jay was dressed or not dressed at the time of when they found his body in the ravine. But what we do know is that the media reported that his body was found alongside his clothes. Now, guys, that tells us that he wasn't wearing his clothes. Now, what is the reason for that? Was Jay even there for that 29 days? Or was he just dumped there? Was he thrown off the cliff after something had happened to him? And were his clothes and possessions also thrown? You see, guys, this just doesn't seem to add up. This is just another question that we may or may not get the answer to. Now, I will have to assume that Jay was not wearing his clothes or partially not wearing his clothes. Otherwise, the media wouldn't have reported it like this. It definitely seems like that if someone has done something to Jay Slater, then they may have paid the police off, or somehow they're being protected, because this case couldn't get any more suspicious. They haven't proved yet that he fell or slipped. They haven't found any slip marks. They haven't found any evidence whatsoever that he slipped or fell to his death. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that there's more evidence to suggest that there was an attack on Jay, or Jay was murdered in some sort of way. And why do I say that? For the reasons that I've said again and again. Why was he going in the wrong direction? What was he doing there in the first place? Why did he not charge his phone up? And what reason would he have to go to Ayub Kasim's Airbnb? Why would anybody embark on an 11-hour walk? Doesn't make any sense. And they want us to believe this nonsense. You see, guys, the truth of the matter is, we don't know if Jay was there all that time. And to be honest, he probably wasn't there all that time. Because of the things that we've discussed in the previous videos. There would have been loads of flies, there would have been a stench, the dogs would have picked up a scent, the area had already been searched multiple times. But he wasn't there. You see, guys, Jay could have been kidnapped, he could have been somewhere else. All that time where they were searching. When they were searching the mountains, he could have been in a completely different location. Maybe he was tortured, stripped down. Anything is possible. But again, they're not willing to investigate it. They don't find none of this suspicious. It's ridiculous. You see, guys, I thought that when they did this in the Nicola Bulley case, it was going to be a one-off. But it looks like the police are trying to get away with this again and again. What is this telling us? It's telling us that whenever they want to cover up a murder, they'll just act as if it's an accident. They'll push this narrative that the person must have just hurt themselves because they're not willing to investigate it. They don't want to find it suspicious. It couldn't be any more suspicious, and yet they don't find anything suspicious. What does that tell you, guys?